How the heck did you kids survive this long? Principal Marlowe said. It wasn't a real question, it was more of an amazed comment. Dang, Christopher, is that you? Principal Marlowe asked. Yeah. Is that a 50 cal? Sure is, son. I don't know, just kept it in my office cause I love this stuff. Marlowe turns to Blame and looks at the gun in his hand. Brian? Blame was just a nickname for his real name, Brian. Is that a 9mm in your hand? Heck yeah, dog. And my name ain't Brian, player, it's Blame. Okay, Blame. If we get out of this mess, you're going to be expelled. Also, how did you take those things out with your pea shooter? Hey man, I dipped them in bleach and vinegar, Blame exclaimed proudly. Okay. I decided that I had had enough with this reunion. Principal Marlowe, how are we getting out of here? We're trapped, and do you know what these things are? Marlowe nodded. I do know what these things are, he inhaled. You know about the basement, huh? Well, right below the basement, a huge underground cave and lake system was uncovered. It was discovered when a hole opened up directly on top of the cave entrance. The school council didn't want too much attention, so they hired a private construction team to seal it up. I let this slide, there would be too many lawsuits and I don't care about that stuff. So this afternoon, some of the construction workers went down and brought their more heavy-duty equipment for the first time. And I guess the vibrations woke up those things from deep inside a lake in the cave. I don't know what actually happened, but I was on my lunch break when I heard some screaming in the basement, and those things came up to the surface. I put the school on lockdown while I hunkered down in the office with my sniper. After a couple of hours had gone by, one of those creatures attacked the office, and I put probably 10 bullets into it. In a matter of hours, the creatures covered the whole school in that weird black goo stuff. They covered the doors and windows really well. Even my 50 cal can't get through them. Must be 4 feet thick, I swear. I stayed in my office for a while and then things got quiet. These monsters must have somehow turned off all the lights because it was super dark. I hadn't seen a class in hours, so I assumed that they were all in their classes locked in. I was preparing to go out and explore more when I heard some screaming, and your whole class came into here, getting chased down by 2 of those things. So I shot at them, and here we are now. So these things aren't aliens. They come from a freaking cave from beneath the school's basement. Yeah, it seems like it, Marlowe replied. Why were you trying to go out? I asked. To go to the breakers in the electrical room and to light this place up. But now I can't since I need to watch you all. We could go, I volunteered. In fact, we just came back from the feeding area of these things, and we rescued about 7 kids or something. If a group of you are up for it, then sure, Marlowe said. But I ain't letting you go unarmed. One of you, Blame, already has a pistol with crap bullets, so I'll give you some of the old guns that I have in my emergency kit. Marlowe walked into his office and came back out with 2 pistols and a small 12-gauge pump-action shotgun. He threw the gun over to me and I dropped my spear and caught it. Chris, you know how to use this thing? The principal asked. Yeah, I played airsoft in Call of Duty. Alright, good enough. Marlowe turned to Armin, who was wiping the black gunk off of his shirt. Hey, Arden, you know how to use this? He threw him a pistol. Yeah, I do. Ironically, my dad's a cop. Taught me how to use a gun when I was 12. Marlowe gave the 3rd gun, a small bolt-action hunting rifle, to one of Blame's friends. With that all settled and the rest of the class holed up in the office safe, Marlowe broke down the plan. Alright, do you know where the electrical room is? In the hall, going through the cafeteria on the side. When you get there, turn the breakers back on and that should deactivate the lockdown system, turning the lights off. Okay? If the rest of your class and I aren't in the office when you're back, somebody take the 50 cal and they can use the rounds. A minute later, and armed to the teeth with firearms and knives, Blame Armin and his friend, RJ, and I were walking to the cafeteria on the other side of the school. Holy crap, this is my first time holding a real weapon, I exclaimed, holding the shotgun. It ain't gonna be your last, Blame said. Got some extra shoots for mine, player. What is this? RJ asked, holding his wooden stock bolt-action rifle. This thing ain't for me. It ain't even that good, man. Somehow in the 4 hours that had gone by with us trapped in the school, the drones had somehow covered most of the inside with that black goo, giving it a hive-like appearance. A growl came from one of the classrooms. I held my hand up, signaling to stop. I slowly slid open the door and I peeked inside. There was a drone dragging an unconscious kid by the leg. It looked at me and then screeched its lungs out. I then did what people tell first-time shooters to do when firing a gun. Point, aim, and fire. And I missed. The monster looked at me and prepared to pounce, but Blame grabbed a hold of the shotgun and landed one heck of a shot. Being at such a close range with the gun packing so much power, the entire chest of the monster was obliterated, and it fell to its side. To make sure that it was dead, Blame fired an extra round just to be safe. What do we do with the kid? RJ asked, pointing to the unconscious kid laying in the classroom floor. Let's lock him in until we get back, I said, and I walked over and shut the door from the outside, and I locked it with the skeleton key that Marlo had given us for such an occasion. We turned the hallway going right into the cafeteria when something had banged the door from inside a classroom. Guys, it's a bunch of different kids, Blame said, looking into the class. I unlocked the door and I went in to find a bunch of 9th graders standing in front of it. I'm sure as heck they were surprised because I would be too if a group of 10th graders holding guns just opened up the door and walked in. One kid who looked to be the tallest and the leader stepped forward and confronted me. Who are you? The kid asked, suddenly pushing me. The question you should be asking is, why am I asking who the heck these people are? I replied, pushing back. The kid then spotted my gun strapped to my shoulder. He grabbed the barrel of a loaded gun and tried to take it from me. What the heck, man? I said, kicking the guy off me. Stop fighting! A girl screamed from the back. The kid threw a punch at my face, but I ducked and tripped his legs. He got up and punched me in the stomach and knocked me down. He pinned me to the ground and punched my face, but thinking quickly, I reached into my pocket and drew my knife. The kid suddenly backed up at the sight of it. You're forgetting who you're messing with right now, I said. I'm the one with a knife and a gun. Calm down and stop being so hostile. Yeah, fine, the kid replied. I didn't bother going with the old, what did you just say to me? Act. Instead, I asked the kid standing behind him, a shorter, chubby guy who looked like he was in the 7th grade, not the 9th. What happened to your class? I asked him. So when the lockdown started, one of our classmates got dragged out by this thing. So we locked the door and we've been in here ever since. Well, what about your teacher? He went outside to get help and we haven't seen him since. Why are you all holding guns? Where did you even get them? Blame replied. Principal Marley gave them to us, and we're going to the cafeteria to turn the lights back on. We can't have a whole class to drag with us, and there's already an unconscious kid in the other classroom. So we'll grab you when we get back. I threw the secondary pistol towards the class, assuming that they would need it. You guys seem to have managed pretty well, but there's a gun just in case. Lock the doors until we get back, which we probably won't. And with that, we shut the door and continued down the hallway. At the end of it, 2 swinging doors led to the enormous cafeteria, which was just as eerie and empty as the rest of the class. Also, like the rest of the school, the whole place, including the ceiling, was covered in that black gunk. From the darkness, I heard another growl, which meant that another monster was nearby. We didn't have to go and find it, the monster found us. A very, very large warrior drone, possibly 12 feet tall, so tall that it had to crouch down and came out of the hallway on the left. "My God, that's a big one," I said. "Fire." And with that, everybody holding their different firearms began to pump the big monster with bullets in pain. The giant warrior drone recoiled and shrieked, but it didn't go down. "Man, I should have used my old bullets," Flame said, blowing the smoke of his new pistol. The warrior drone lifted its razor-sharp arm and swept at a pile of stacked chairs, sending them flying in our direction. One of the chairs hit me dead center and knocked me over. I screamed in pain for a couple of seconds before picking up my shotgun and slam firing at the monster. Despite chunks of flesh getting ripped out, it ignored me and instead picked up Blame and dropped him, still holding his knife straight into its mouth. The last thing that I heard Blame yell before he fell down the maw of the warrior drone was, "No, oh God, no!" And then the monster dropped Blame straight down its enormous gullet. I felt my heart drop seeing my best friend get eaten by the huge drone. I picked up my shotgun and started running towards the monster.